Hey y'all, it is Looking Through the Glass. I am Giselle and we have Sela, of course, and we have a special guest. We always do. Avonley, right? I said it right.
Yep.
We have Avonley and she has a magnificent story that we would love for y'all to hear. We have a lot of conversations and topics we want to cover, but we're going to start with her story, and we're most likely going to have her back to cover other topics. Avonley, would you
She's
like
going to be a
to?
multi episode guest, is what she's going to be. We've already determined. So
Yes.
don't.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
Avonley, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Sela, right? And
Yes.
Giselle. Thank you so much. It's an honor. My name is Avonley Lightstone. I am the author of Strength the Scars, and I just I'm a voice for a lot of people that's gone through a lot of abuse in their life and is willing to stand up and talk about their experiences and other ways that we can be able to navigate in a more healthier way.
I love that because that's what we're trying to do. We've been through our traumas and we really want to be the voice and be the safe space for those who want to have a voice or need a voice to speak out about it.
Yeah, it's really not easy, especially as a young child when you're in an abusive home. Like you want to be able to trust those in your family members, those people that are close to you. And when you don't have a voice to even make concerns of, abuse that's happening in your own family, that you want to protect your own siblings, that just becomes quite dangerous, and it actually ends up hurting oneself from being able to progress faster in life because they kind of hold you back in many ways.
They really do. I can understand that being an older sibling and being in an abusive home, it's you want to shield them and save them from it because you don't want them to go through what you've seen and what you've heard and what you're going through.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess I'll just go ahead and start with my story. My
Yeah.
story starts at a very young age, 3 years old, when we just don't think like life can throw as unexpected life changes. It can happen at any age in our life, whether it's like a child, a baby, toddler, to like when you're much older. It just happens, and a lot of these times are just so unexpected that we just never know when those things happen. And that happened to me at 3 years old when I'm still trying to develop and growing. I was trying to save my mother from a house fire. She was cooking food, and my parents had nine children, and they most of them were in school, and I was left home alone. My baby sister was with her my grandparents, and so when my mom was making food, her sari, which is a flammable Indian material, caught on fire. It just ignited, and so
Wow.
she started screaming really loud, and it's like that echo pain yelling that I've never heard my mother scream, because usually it's the opposite. It's children that are screaming, crying. And so it was kind of different for me. And I knew that something was wrong. And so I took, went to wake up my dad, who was completely unresponsive, blacked out when I was trying to nudge him and wasn't getting any sort of like response from him. So I felt like I needed to do what I thought was the best. And I still would do it if I were to go back in time. And that is just doing what any child would probably do, is to make sure that their parent is comforted. And I went and hugged my mom to against her legs. I planted my face into her thighs, and so as you can see, my face has not been affected, and my like chest area, because I was hugging my mom so tight that the fire didn't get to my face. So I was very blessed with that. Um, uh, as soon as that had happened, I then was taken to the hospital. And I remember just having a lot of bowel problems, throwing up because my body was in so much shock. And it was going from, okay, it needs to, like, our bodies are so amazing and so equipped to, when it's damaged, it's wanting to like go and heal. And things
Hmm.
that we take for granted, like oxygen, cells, like I could feel those. And my body was like, okay, let's fix this. And it was so painful. But I think what was worse than all that was when the nurse took me into this bathtub and they had to scrub the burnt clothing off of my skin. And that
Oh
was
my
like,
goodness.
yeah, that was worse than being caught on fire. And I remember thinking, like, please take me back. I want to be in that fire. Like,
At three
what
years
child thinks
old.
that way? But I was thinking that because at some point the fire just kind of numbs your nerves and you can tolerate the pain. But once your body is recovering, it is like
So
healing.
painful.
Hmm.
Oh.
And I didn't have any morphine or any sort of like numbing agents to help me because we lived in a poor area. Technology wasn't as advanced, and they just scrubbed my back and my
Can I
legs.
ask you a question? Did that happen in India or here in America?
Yeah. Hmm.
Oh my gosh, yeah, there's no like, wow,
Yeah.
ouch.
Yeah. And that was like the most painful thing that I've ever endured in my entire life, was just having to deal with the pain of them just scrubbing the clothing off of my back. And I remember like I was just silently crying because I never liked crying in front of people. And I
Hmm.
would just, like, tears would just like flow. And, but like they couldn't comfort you because they were just doing their job. And, and I really needed that. I really needed that from my family. My mom couldn't do that because she was completely burned and she was suffering in her own ways. And she passed away 3 days later. And then my dad, he stopped coming to see me. So right there, I was like, felt rejection. Like at that time, I really needed some nurturing, some support, some guidance in why I'm where I'm at. But I didn't get that. So that's where I have so much like vivid memory as such a young age is I was completely alone and abandoned in that hospital
Wow.
to recover. And what I took in was memories of my mom, memories of my families, memories of like the location that I was imprinting that into my soul. So yeah, that is how I was able to cope and just make it through one day after another. Um, so after a few months of recovering, I was then released from the hospital, and my I was able to go pay respects to my mom. We were Catholics in India, and I remember still recovering. I was in my blue underwear, Mowgli style, and going to the church. And I remember kneeling down at the Mother Mary statue with my other siblings and just saying like pretty much my goodbyes to her. And that was it. And after that day, my dad didn't want me to be around the family anymore. I didn't have a chance to say goodbye to my siblings or even talk to them. So I went from going from the hospital, being rejected by my dad, and saying goodbye to my mom. And then I'm sorry. This sometimes it gets really
No, no,
No,
no.
you're fine.
Like, yeah, I'm right
Wow.
there with you, girl.
Yeah.
and so just like feeling rejected is like one of like the worst thing a child could go through, especially after they went through a traumatic event, and all that child needs is love and comfort and care. I do understand why my dad probably felt that way, because people deal with pain and cope with pain in different ways. Um, I don't agree with the way he did things. It left a lot of scars, and it hurt the family. But again, like I said, I didn't have time to recover. I didn't have time to connect with my families, my grandparents, and just because I was so excited to come home and see the familiarities of my siblings. And that was
Mm-hmm.
taken away from me. And I remember my dad taking me to the orphanage to be adopted. And I, I didn't quite understand what he was doing. Like to me, I felt like, why, where are you taking me? Where's my family? I already have a family, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't quite understand just everything that was happening. It just didn't make sense to me. And he wasn't willing to explain it. And again, like I was, you're taught to respect your elders. You're taught to respect the man of the home, right? And so I never like try to ask him why. It's just, you just hope that, a parent would do their job and help comfort that child. So I was in the orphanage for 2 weeks before I saw him coming back, but with through my other siblings. So I thought maybe he was coming to pick me up, but he
No,
wasn't.
just coming
He
and
was just,
dropping them off.
yeah, he was just dropping them off because he couldn't support them. And I think just with my mom's passing and everything, it just becomes more of a mess for him, that he has to deal with. And to him, maybe it was the best course of action for us, hoping that we'd go into a family that was loving. So
Mm-hmm.
now here I am at the hospital, not the hospital, at the orphanage. And my sister, my older sister, she just was not taking it. And she did not want to be a part of this orphanage, because she had her family. She was much older, and she planned to run away. So she took my baby sister, and she guided all of us back home. So we ran away from the orphanage, ran back home, and we did that twice. And my dad knew that he had to take us to a further orphanage where we didn't know the area very well. And when we tried to run away, then my sister just got lost. She just didn't know where she was at, and we just ran into a cop, which who ended up taking us back to the orphanage. So that was my time, exciting time, things that
Wow.
happened
Wow.
unexpectedly.
Whew.
Wow.
That is, that leaving me speechless. Like, oh my goodness, you went through something horrible.
Yeah, it's
So
not.
can go
Go ahead.
ahead.
No, go ahead.
Can can I ask you, did you grow up in the orphanage or were you adopted out? Like,
Yeah, so I was only in the orphanage probably for a year to maybe like 18 months. So not too long for, especially us being older kids. Um, we were just groomed to be ready for our families in America. And so we had to forget our culture. We started speaking English, etiquette, you know, learning to, take care of the household. So my older sisters, they were taking care of the babies, and so they kind of had to like start taking care and caring for the children. And so we were just really prepping ourselves ready for our families in America. And we would see families come and pick up their children. So it started giving me a sense of uh, just a scope of why, where we're going to be going. And we would see families dropping off like chocolates, candies, and treats. And they were just, I don't know, I just saw like a lot of them picking up their kids, being very happy. So seeing their expressions of hope, happiness, I just was like, oh, you know what? This is where we're going to go. I can't, almost like a
There's some hope.
yeah, fun little surprise. Like, I wonder who my family's going to be, what they're going to look like. Are they going to come to India to pick me up? So those thoughts came frequently. And we just were pretty much getting our manners really, like, pretty much scoping ourselves.
You said it perfectly. You were being groomed.
Yeah.
You said it perfectly. You were being groomed. You guys were all being groomed. Like that
Yeah.
that's said perfectly.
So, yeah. So that was our life in India, is just getting ourselves ready for our families in America. And my mom ended up seeing a picture of me in the newspaper, and she saw and my burns and saw the pictures of my other siblings. And she was like, well, I really want this child. This is, I think this is quite silly. And I hate to say this, but she just saw a picture of me and said, oh, that girl, she belongs in our family. I want to give her the love and the life that she deserves. At least that's what all children would want, to know that their parents truly meant that. Um, and so she was like, well, I also want to bring those other two girls, siblings. And so she was able to adopt me and two of my other siblings, except for my baby sister, just because it was easier for young,
Babies to get
yeah,
adopted than it is for the older. The older they get, the harder the adoption happens.
yeah, just
That's
because,
just the hard part about adoptions.
yeah, it is. And it's kind of like, I'm just really grateful in many ways to be able to have my two siblings adopted with
Yeah.
me. So I remember getting on the airplane where we made the exchange out to New York, and I met with my dad, my adopted dad there. And I just remember landing in New York, being feeling like I'm in a different world, like
Culture shocked?
very much culture shock, but also feeling very, like, I guess, rich, because I we were poor
Yeah.
in India. So I remember seeing all the buildings,
To
looking
you,
out
it
the
was
window.
like life of luxury, like all these spoiledness things.
Yeah, I couldn't. I remember, like, we went to the bathroom, my sisters and I. We went to the bathroom and we just kept playing with the water in the sink that just kept flowing from the faucet. We just thought, like, wow, this is so cool. Like, everything was nice. I know, like, the bathroom of all places.
Well, no, I'm not. I'm not laughing at you. Believe me, I'm not laughing at you. I
I know.
promise you. It is 100% just the child. Like, oh wow, is what went through my mind. Just the child, just the
Oh, yeah.
child behavior, just really ran through my mind, and I just was like, I couldn't help but giggle at the child, like being amazed was, oh my god, the water. Like, I'm sorry,
Even like
I
the
get
toilets.
cartoons go in the head.
Yeah. We just kept flushing the toilets. We thought it was just so cool. It was so clean. And, well, like, it's cleaner than India.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we just felt like it was where is this place? It's a world that we never comprehended. And we just was also in shock in many ways because we saw a lot of different ethnicities, right? And
The
I
things that you
was,
weren't used to.
yeah, I was not used to that. And so my dad, he was waiting for us to come out of the bathroom, but we went on the other side. So when you go in, sometimes the bathroom, there's like an exit. You just go out, or you can go
Yeah.
both ways.
Hmm.
Yeah. So we just went out the other way. And we were so scared and so terrified because we didn't know where he went and he didn't know where we went. And so he was like getting a little nervous and he kept asking people, like, hey, could you go in there and see if there's any girls in there? Okay, so that's not the best ways to like ask. And he was like getting like creepy looks. What are you?
So they're starting to get a little concerned there.
This already started out great for him.
Oh yeah, like you can only imagine he came from a town that's like 400 people, like population. He was a rancher, so he doesn't even fit in New York with a cowboy hat,
Yeah.
cowboy boots, and so they just kind of people kept looking at him like you pervert. And so
Hmm.
finally got the hint, like, oh, maybe I should explain. Hey, I adopted three little girls. Um, brown girls, could you see if they're in there? And so one of them finally went in and was like, oh, yeah, they're on the other side. So that was a scare for him.
Yeah, I
um,
bet.
Oh my
yeah,
goodness, that's quite the story. That one.
right. Yeah, it's quite something. But and then once we landed in New York, met with my dad, we flew out to Salt Lake City, and that is where I met up with my grandma and my sister, who happens to be the golden child. Um, and so I met them, and then the next day we drove. I think it's like three, almost 4 or 5 hours to get from Salt Lake to our where they lived, and they lived in a rural area in Utah. And I remember seeing my mom for the first time. We were so excited. We just gravitated towards her. We just knew, like, okay, what to expect because we saw other kids when they got adopted. Their parents came and picked them up, excitement, and it was just a positive exchange that you saw on the face of the new family and the children. So it was like we were just kind of following suit, just like, okay, this is our new family, exciting.
Hmm.
um, and that's how it was for I just a little bit as we were settling in. And my parents had a lady come live with us from Colombia, and she was going to give birth. So I think this is why my mom was super nice during those times because it was around the same time that we were adopted. And so somebody that is abusive, that don't want to look like they're abusive, will put on a face to just mask who they truly are. And what happened is so she ends up giving birth. And as soon as she gave birth, she went back to Colombia to be with her other kids and to raise them. And so my sister, my older biological sister, Violet, she just took in and started caring for all the kids because my parents adopted 14 kids total. They
Wow.
had, I know, they already had raised three boys by the time that I was adopted, and the rest of us kids, they were just kind of already out of their home. Um, and so I was actually one of the oldest. My three, me and my two siblings that were adopted were the oldest in that the rest of the
Hmm.
group. And so my older sister, she started taking care of the younger kids. because that's kind of like what she grew up.
You were
Like she
groomed to
Mhm.
took care,
do.
yeah, she took care of me when I was little in India, and then in the orphanage, she was helping take care of the babies. And so when she came to this home, it was natural for her to just start taking care of the little ones. However, my mom did not like it. She did not like it and started like pushing her away. And my sister couldn't understand. She's like,
Can
this
I
is,
ask how old your sister was at the time?
she was 9.
No,
So
oh
Oh
she
my,
was,
yeah, she definitely didn't understand.
yeah,
yeah,
she was still a child.
Like I'm
yeah,
sitting here imagining like a 15-year-old. You're talking about a very young child still.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, we had to grow up really fast when we were taken to the orphanage, like super fast. Um,
Yeah.
and she was able to handle it pretty well, in many ways. I know she was suffering in a lot of ways, and she needed the help to transition from, like we all did, from leaving our family to being adopted. It just doesn't make sense. Um, but yeah, my mom would just get so upset with her whenever she offered help. Why would any parent be upset with that? Like, isn't that what a
No.
parent needs when you have so
Yeah.
many kids? Like,
You
oh
should be
yeah.
thankful. Like
yeah,
I know that I was.
absolutely. She was not though, and it got to the point where my sister, my adopted sister Molly, who's in the same grade as me, who also is the golden child, my mom told her she could start babysitting, and she had to babysit my sister who was 9 years old. And my sister did not like it because she's like, "Hey, I'm 4 years older than you. Like, I can help, I can take care of." And so this kind of made my butt heads with my mom, and my sister started reacting, and she didn't like it. And so she started resenting my mom. She started resenting this one particular sibling, and she started getting in fights. And my mom wouldn't tolerate that and started abusing her. And at times, whenever she made any kind of concerns or voiced any opinions, then I would end up getting in trouble. Um, I struggled in school a lot. When I first came, I was dyslexic, trying to, because I came with 8 different dialects. So learning math
Wow.
was
8
hard.
different dialects?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, it was,
I don't think there was dyslexia so much as there was just a lot of confusion for you.
yeah, it was. But then I do have dyslexia as it.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, it is very confusing, and
Mm-hmm.
I just remember just being frustrated. My sister, who was a golden child, it's really hard being in the same grade as somebody that is highly like valued and loved and cared for. And
Better at everything that you do, no matter how hard you try, right?
yeah, it doesn't matter like how much you try. Like she's always going to be the better one.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled, and my teachers mentioned that, was like, "Hey, she needs extra tutoring. She needs help. What can you do?" And my mom would just send me down in the basement after school and give me more work to do, but giving me lessons that I need to do that was above my grade level. It was like two grades higher than me, and so I wasn't even able to understand what it is that I needed to do. But she wouldn't ever like sit down with me and explain to me like, this is how to solve this problem. This is what you need to do. You're not going to come you're not going to come up to eat until you get this done. So I never could come up and eat because I never could be able to.
You didn't know any idea what you were doing.
And I would just like suffer down there crying. And then if I didn't get it done, then she would send me to my room for 3 days with no food or water as a form of punishment. So I would end up
Wow.
I and this is like fairly close to when I was adopted. So as soon as and this is I think this is a myth where a lot of people think just because somebody that is well known in the community, helps out in churches, volunteers in churches, um, it's just very kind and
Those
compassionate.
are all masks, people.
Yeah,
Those
it's
are all places where people like to hide.
absolutely. And she
Hmm.
just, behind closed doors, like things happen and people don't know about it. We lived on a ranch in a rural area where, like I said, like it was like there were 300 people, the population,
Wow.
and we had a lot of land. So it was really difficult. And I also think my mom was just triggered by I really like how good of kids we were. We
Hmm.
were we were taught to stay clean. We were taught to not raise our voice. We were taught not to just help out wherever we can. So when we were adopted, I remember keeping my room spotless. Like me and my sisters, we shared the same room, and our beds were always made whenever we got up in the morning. Our room was spotless, clean. And then what we would do, without even asking, we would start cleaning the bathroom. We would start doing the dishes. We would just do that because it's like,
Hmm.
oh, things need to be done.
Yeah.
And
You were literally groomed to be housekeepers and babysitters.
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. And we were great at it. Like we were
Of
keeping the
course you
place.
were.
She did not like it, however. She did not like it. And so she would get me in trouble and tell me to go out and pick up rocks in the field, even in the heat of day in the summertime. And when it was like super cold in the wintertime, she would take a pickup truck and we would fill the bed up with just rocks from the field, and we couldn't come in to eat or drink until we did that. And she had like these check marks, and if we caused any problems, she would have these tally marks. And I remember having like I don't know how many tally marks, but for one tally mark, I had to go out and fill a pickup truck of rocks, and for one of those tally marks to be
For
removed.
one,
For one, yes. And other times it was like picking up boards for wood. And so I remember just going out in the field, just filling boxes, and she would have to come out and count how many boxes was worth taking the tally mark. And it was just like really dumb reasons to even have those tally mark of just having a nice clean bed, having just helping do the dishes. Those were my consequences. She would just have these tally marks. I remember having so much tally marks, and my sister, the golden child, she hardly had any. She probably had like three, but I probably had like 50. It was a lot. And I
Wow.
remember she had it up high on the wall. I remember getting a chair when she wasn't around, taking a pencil and taking tally marks and putting it under her. Um, yeah, I know, because I didn't think it was fair. I'm like, oh, no, and she would just watch us
yeah.
work and stuff. And when my mom found out that I did that,
Oh
yeah,
boy.
it was like, okay, more tally marks, and um, we couldn't watch TV. So like kids that didn't have any talent marks, they were rewarded with, hey, you get to watch TV, and other kids couldn't. And so you
But
could,
seeing from what you're saying, though, from what I'm hearing, is that the reasons why you got tally marks were not the reasons why other kids got tally marks, though.
yeah,
That it
yeah,
was it was
exactly.
100% isolation on you and your siblings because of you know, you would think that every parent, like, you have a chore list, your kids come home and do their chore list, you're
Mhm.
rewarding them, not punishing them.
Yeah, it's really ridiculous, and it's not like we weren't even good kids. She had mentioned, because I remember crying to my dad and was like, "Why does she treat us this way? Why does she treat all these other kids kinder?" And he had said, and she hadn't even acknowledged it. It's because you guys are older and you have memories of your family in India, and the babies don't.
Jealousy.
Yeah, the babies do not have any memories. So therefore, I am the only person that they see when they're babies. And so therefore, she loved them more. And it's always been like that, and it still is that way. Um, so it's just, she kind of created like a system where our families, the siblings would pin against each other. So here I am trying to fit in, trying to have love, and could have fit in, and just literally will throw my siblings under the bus just to get like attention. Like, hey, mom, hey, I'm really proud of you. Good job. Nothing. It didn't matter what I did or what my other siblings were doing. They were always either like a spy to get us in trouble, and it was just a very dysfunctional home. It wasn't a healthy atmosphere, and it wasn't a home that I just feel like she just ruined any good possibility of me and my siblings and any of those other siblings to have a good, wonderful family, because she is sick and twisted in her mind, and she might have problems, but she projected it on these children, which is not okay. It's never okay to project your problems onto innocent kids that
Yes.
are just trying to survive, trying to fit in. And we were
Yeah.
good kids. It wasn't like we were bad kids. Even the kids
Even
that
if you were bad kids, like you
You guys are
went
kids.
through your
hmm yeah,
kids and you were going and went through hell. You all the way from hell to your earth shattering to more hell to more earth shattering to
yeah,
being groomed to having hope and then this. Like,
yeah.
oh my gosh.
And that's just a little fraction of what we went through. I just remembered realizing like I don't want to be in this home. I'm not. I can't be happy in this home.
So
So
your adopted dad, was he abusive?
no, that's
No,
where
he was.
that's where we
He
found
That's where you were able to find solace.
hmm So we started going with our dad. Um, us three girls, we started going with our dad, and our dad would allow us to work on the ranch with him, and we all just loved it. We loved
Hmm.
working with the animals. We loved just being with him because he was just a really good person, and he was not afraid to hug you and tell you that he loved you and that you were special to him. And he was the one that never wanted us kids. And I think a lot of it has to be, and he would get up in church during fast and testimony meeting, and he would bear his testimony every once in a while, and he would say this: I never wanted these kids, but I love them as if they're my own. I'm really glad they're in my life. And some people might think like, oh, that's pretty like sad that your dad would say that, but I actually honor him by saying that, because if we look at the patterns
That
of what
means that you had that much more of an impact on him.
hmm
Just
yeah,
so he
well,
stopped recording again. You can just keep going. She'll come back.
oh, okay. So,
It's been doing this all day.
oh, okay. So when I was, I guess I've been with my dad, working with my dad a lot, and my sisters, and we just get up really early, like 6 o'clock, and be right in the front room, ready to be with him.
Hmm.
And we were really quiet because we didn't want to wake up any of the other siblings at all, because we didn't want them to come out and enjoy the
Start.
fun because then they would ruin it for us. So we would wake up really early. My dad would take us out and we would feed the cows and catch the horses. And my dad would end up taking us to see his dad, our grandpa, and we loved that. Our grandpa would always have food set aside for us because he knew that we weren't getting the food we needed at the house. And that is one of the things that I struggled. Like my mom would punish me and not give me food, but like the food that we were eating were expired food. They weren't it wasn't like few months expired. It's like 5 to 10 year expired.
Oh
My
my
mom,
lord.
yeah, so she had a cellar of just food and candy that she's had for years. And that is what we lived off of. We, yeah. And so, like, I have like internal damages because my body never properly was able to have the nutrition it needed at such a very young age, proper nutrition. You're not going to get nutrition from expired food that's should be thrown out long
No, that's
ago.
poisoning you.
Mhm. Yeah. And, um, and so I went with my dad and we were just having a good time. We just knew like this is what we wanted. And my dad he hired my mom's cousin to come help out with the ranch, help hand. And he was really rough, featured. He smoked, he drank a little tobacco. He was very, very rough, but he was a really good guy and I gravitated towards him. He was like a father to me, just never would do anything to harm us. So I was always safe with him. Um, my mom, however, started getting upset because we were just having a really great time with my dad. And she always wanted ways to try to get rid of anything that made us happy. So
Mm-hmm.
with my sister, because my sister would go with my dad a lot more. She would say stuff like, "Hey, you're doing things with my dad," and those things never was happening like sexually. It's like, no, they're not happening. And when my sister, she she was starting to hit puberty, and she was like, "No, I'm." She would not take what my mom was saying. She was just like pretty much retaliate and just yell at her and say like, "No, that's not what's happening." And my mom would get really upset and start I remember like punishing her and then she would punish me and I remember her taking my sister to her room and just molesting her, taking her clothes off, molesting her right in front of me. And this is like a time when am just I just felt bad for my sister because she was just hitting puberty. And during that time, when a child is going through a different phase, you don't do those things. Like, it just, it haunted me. And I
Yeah.
remember saying, like, I don't ever want to go and become a teenager. I don't want to grow breast. I just didn't want to go through that phase. And I remember praying a lot and telling God, like, please don't let me go through puberty early. And he actually blessed me with that. And I didn't go through puberty early. It was much later. And I think it also has to do with not having, being
The
devoid
proper
of
nutrition.
proper nutrition. Yeah, because I
Yeah.
didn't go through puberty until I was like, um, after like junior high, like junior in high school, almost a senior. Yeah,
Oh
Wow.
yeah, that is
Yeah.
pretty late.
really.
Yeah. Especially
Um,
for female.
so, thank you. So, yeah, so that was just like my journey is just like trying to survive and trying to stay in the shadows of my mom because anything fun that I did, it was taken from me. I was then also like later. she would take stuff like, hey, you can't even like go take care of the horses. You can't feed the cows. You can't feed the dogs. You know, she took those chores away from me, which my
because
dad.
they meant something to you.
Mhm. And I'll tell you one thing, like animals, they are wonderful creation. Those are one thing where like you can talk about anything in your life
Anything,
and
and they're
they'll
always
listen.
safe.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh, we got animal lovers here too. I actually have
Yeah.
2 horses.
Oh, I miss those.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's just something special about animals and the way that they heal. And when my mom took that away from me, I didn't have anything else. I didn't know how to cope anymore because she just
Yeah.
took everything that was just, at least to me, was more manageable, because then I can like leave the house and be with my cows and the horses and train them
And
and
get out
those.
from underneath her, that dark cloud energy that
Yeah.
sits in the house. We understand that. You know, you and Giselle kind of have a very similar, because my ex-husband was very jealous of mine and Giselle's relationship, and was very, very abusive, and he would never touch her. He would never touch her because then there would be proof. Like,
Yeah.
and he would manipulate me and lie to me and tell me that she was doing something and when she wasn't. And
Mhm.
it, like, there was years and years and years. So you and Giselle actually have a lot in common in those areas. You really,
I'm
really
so
do.
sorry,
You're
Giselle.
talking
Like
and it's
that's
like, holy crap, somebody else, like, it's my story. It's just in a different form. It is
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And unfortunately, I wasn't a safe place at that time either.
yeah.
So
No, and
you
that's
and
just really hard because like like you and your daughter Giselle should have a relationship. Your husband, your ex-husband, if he sees that you guys have a relationship, great. He can be
it should
included.
be encouraged, not
Yeah,
be
Mhm.
jealous of.
exactly.
It should be
That,
encouraged and pushed and motivated to have a healthy relationship. And no, he would get jealous because and there was times that he would get jealous because he wasn't her father and she still had love for her father, and it was like, grow
yeah,
up. Like, but that's the honest to God truth of how it was. Unfortunately, I allowed it and I put up with it for many years, but
yeah. And that's hard because you're just trying to be the best that you could at the same
and
time.
there did hit a point where I was started seeing things, and things really did turn, because she was about to hit 13 and I was like, huh, Um, okay. I can barely handle her now because, of course, the rebelliousness, and she wasn't doing half the things that he said she was doing, but she was getting in trouble for nothing. But I thought that she was lying to me.
Yeah.
And so it was like, okay, well, what do I need? I was like, where's the problem? And I realized, came to the conclusion, Sela, if you want a different relationship with your child, then you need to change the parent that you are. As
Mhm.
simple as that. And that's when I started changing the way I was with her. And then that's when I started, things were actually able to I was starting to able to see things and stuff like that. But it still took years of that, of me still knowing. It still took years and years and years to
And
get
I also
away.
had the
Yeah.
see I had younger siblings that had gotten the affection and the love and never had
Mm-hmm.
the a false accusations put on them and family who specifically would see them and talk to them but never had anything to do with me. So I fully and
And then she had another sibling that was the golden child, because, well, that was his child, not now. Now he has a biological child, and none of that rage was ever pointed in her direction. It was always pointed in Giselle's direction.
Yeah. And I know, like, as I look back, they create these golden child to like
Mhm.
pretty much help frame their
Mm-hmm.
behavior and
Mhm.
their back. And it's just really sad because you're ruining such an beautiful relationship that you could have had with your sister. And same with me, with my siblings. We could have just been a really good family. Like we were all caring at one point, and we were all just like loved each other. But as we were just kind of progressing through each day, you could see that where my mom was having a grip on certain siblings. Like, you're going to
Mhm.
succeed. You're going to make me proud. You're going to pretty much carry this family when I go. She was prepping her. And if any, so every child knew, hey, we have to be best buddies with this particular child. And if we were, then my mom would be very kind to them. And even, but there's always somebody that has to be the scapegoat, the one that they
Mhm.
has to toss their trash into. It doesn't matter like if we got along or not. Like, you're just going to be the one that they trample on and throw the trash out to. You're going to be the front cover of
Mm-hmm.
humiliation, of anything happen, everybody's going to turn to you and look at you as you're the rebellious, you're the one that's causing problems, you're the one that's causing hurt in the family. Even when you don't, it's kind of crazy how twisted they can create these illusions and make it so believable.
Yeah, these false realities that they create is in the webs that the lies that they web, and it's just insane. And it's
Yeah,
insane at how easily they get away with it.
right. Yeah, and they do. They get away with
Right in
it.
Yep.
front of everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. And if you even say anything that is like false and it's true, like you.
And typically the scapegoat person is the one that is the truth teller.
Hmm.
And Giselle was always a truth teller. She always called him out. She was always, she would like, she fought him back. Don't get me, she fought him back every step of the way. But at the same time, I didn't always listen.
Hmm.
So, even though, but she fought and fought and fought. She never stopped fighting
Oh,
back on the, no, you're not going to do this to me. Da da da. Like, she really, really fought
well,
back
and
hard.
I fought
But
back with
like you
other,
said, it made her the rebellious
and
one.
also rebellious with other family members, where oh, I was always the outsider with other stuff, other family members because I had a brother that was the golden child too, and outside, like, that relationship. So I had family members who loved and cared for me and were very kind and loving to me, took me out to go shopping, treated me and my siblings all exactly the same. They did not favor us. And then I had family members who did favor siblings. And, and then because I spoke out about my truth and what I was going through and what they were putting me through, I was considered rebellious or I'm lying. And it's sad.
It really is sad because I think a lot of it is they don't want to know that their family is having some dysfunction, and they don't want to be labeled that.
Exactly.
Like, and I don't blame
Instead of
them.
facing it and changing it, they want to hide it and shove it under the rug. No,
Right.
face that shit and change that
Or
shit. Yeah, that's
We're
what
not
we're supposed to
perfect.
do.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're not perfect. And if a child is asking for help, you really probably should trust or even just
Hmm.
listen to them, and then just start like watching them to see if it's really true. Maybe you might not believe it right away and you need a little bit more evidence, but just be watchful.
Just be mindful of what the kid has said. Be
Yeah.
mindful of what's been said without the kid even realizing that they're tattling. because kids
Yeah.
will tattle without even realizing they're tattling. I know
Right.
mine do. You know, mine are
Yeah.
very good at doing that. But but like, you start watching those behaviors, you start watching, and as you learn children behaviors and stuff, you start to see, okay, no, maybe they really are telling the truth, or there is some truth, or
Mhm.
because I've even had, like, I'm not even gonna lie right now, I can't even talk about it, never mind. We're
Mhm.
recording. I can't talk about it right now. I have to wait until it's closed. But like, there's fault. Some kids do give false accusations or
Yeah.
pump up accusations. Like there has been,
But if you
it
pay
happens.
attention, you can
But at the
tell.
same time, you still need to take those, even if it is a false accusation, you still need to take it seriously because you
Mhm.
don't know.
Right. What were
I
you
was gonna
saying,
say,
Giselle?
even if it's a false accusation, the paying attention from an outside perspective and paying attention to their behaviors and or knowing how they act on a consistent basis because you pay attention, you can tell if it's false or not. You can pay attention to how the parent is with the child or the person that is with the child because it's not always a parent that's abusive. And it will open up your eyes to see if it's really happening or not.
Yeah, that's true. It gives you clues. If you start seeing when a child is not listened to, there's cues that they show in their behavior. Like you were saying, Giselle, they either shut down, they get
Hmm.
quieter, they back off, or you can maybe see like a spur of energy when there was another person where they feel a little safe and they can just be themselves. And then, if they go back to another, this person
The
that probably abused them.
reclusiveness when
Mhm.
somebody else is around, you can watch that body language, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those are cues that you can start at least watching out for. If you're not quite sure, like if your, I guess, cousin or your niece or nephew are not telling the truth, at least watch for those cues, listen to them, and start putting two and two together. Maybe even write things down. That's always helpful. So when they come
Yeah,
back,
so you
yeah, then you can
yeah.
like look back on your notes and say, okay, look, here's some patterns that's going on. Maybe,
Mhm.
maybe he or she is not is telling it seriously. Maybe I need to start taking
Mhm.
it seriously. So it's
Yes.
like it's so true, and I'm so sorry, Giselle, that you went through that. Like I totally like get where you're coming from when you're trying to like even like keep your siblings safe, and you go and tell your parent, hey, this is happening, or just someone that's a little older that is an adult or guardian, you tell them and they don't listen. And you just, it's just really sad because the best explanation for this is my mom ended up adopting two children from India too. And they were older, 8 and 9. And after 6 months of them being adopted, my two little brothers started raping them. They would take them out into the wood, and my little brother would take a knife with him and put it against her throat and said, if you do anything, if you say anything, I'll slice you. I will hurt you. Just threats. I didn't like that. I knew what was happening. It was disgusting. And I went and told my mom about it. And it was really hard for me because, and I knew where I was stood in
Hmm.
that home. I knew my place.
Mhm.
So I knew I wasn't going to be heard, but, I was willing to try.
You still had to try.
Yeah, and I did, and she just didn't acknowledge. She would get upset and say, "Why are you even in my room? Why are you even here? You need to go to your room." And so, like, here I am trying my best to help my sister, um, sisters that are being attacked. And eventually, one of the girls ended up getting a urinary tract infection, and she would start peeing in her bed at nighttime. And it's from what happened.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my mom would get so upset with her and tell her to wash her bedding out in the creek. So she would have to get up early. So we would get up early to go to catch the bus, which was 45 minutes away. And I think we would catch the bus around like 7 o'clock. So she would have to get up by 6, wash her bedding out in the creek. And it didn't matter if it was like freezing cold, she still had to do it. And washing anything and holding anything that's wet out in the blizzard or in even just cold weather, it
Hmm.
hurts. And you could
Mm-hmm.
just hear her crying and crying, um, and wailing, but she never could be able to come in and wash her clothes in the washer and dryer downstairs.
Oh
And
my
so
Lord.
that was like her routine every day is get up, wash your clothes. However, the kid that was raping her, he him and one of my other siblings um, just had bowel problems too, is what we were told. And they were wearing diapers even until they were like 10 years old. And my mom would not give this one particular girl diapers at all. So it forced her to have to like pee in her bed and go wash her clothes. So she was very abusive in that way. And it was just like she never like physically abused me. Like she would spank me at time with a board and a nail, just for having a great time with my sisters, and we're just playing, I guess, donkey. We're just playing donkey, and we're just having a really great time. And next thing I know, my siblings were just scattered and they just ran off. And my mom just had a board and it had a nail in it, and she would just spank me.
Oh
And
my gosh.
just for having a good time, having laughter, she just took that away.
Your laughter just pissed her off, obviously.
I guess so. Just me, just being able to smile, laugh, or just even be able to communicate with my siblings was not okay. Like I couldn't even go into my sister's room, um, the golden child, and just like have conversations with her, because then my mom would think that we were conspiring. No. And so I learned to like stay away from her and stayed away in a safe place. And during those times, as a young child, I started becoming very suicidal because I just didn't feel like I was wanted. Like I was told in India that I was going to have a great family. And my mom saw a picture of me, like I said earlier, and she was like, I want that girl to be in my home where she can be loved and cared for. You just like, I just wonder, like, why, what made you even say that? Like, what, you
Yeah.
just deprived us from joy that we could have been with another family that could have, like, would have needed us and we needed them,
Hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just really sad to know those things. And I just remember like crying a lot and not understanding like, why God would you put me in a place where I was not feeling any love?
Hated.
Yeah, like it just didn't make sense to me. And I was LDS, so I grew up LDS, and at least I don't I'm not LDS anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I really loved that I learned about God, where I could just know, hey, I can pray to Him, and
Yes.
He can talk. I can talk to Him about anything, and He'll
I'm
be.
baptized LDS as
So am
well.
I.
You
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, we're
you.
baptized LDS as well.
Okay, well, that's great. So, yeah, so I just remember always like just being very I don't know, so sad, cry myself to sleep. And I think what was really cool about this whole thing is I started building my relationship with God at such a young age. Like, I didn't have
Yeah.
anyone to talk to, but I talked to him.
Hmm.
I just gave God a chance and I just like purged everything to him. And during those nights where I would cry myself to sleep, I remember I would ask those questions like, why me? And he would always bring my mom, her
Oh,
spirit, into my bed, and I would just fall asleep warm. And
Oh
I
my
thought that was
gosh.
just like, it was just like he planted those thoughts inside my head. And I just felt like, okay, a mother puts their child to sleep. You know, he actually was allowing my mom to come into my bed and just wrap us. And I think not only to myself, but I also to my other sisters. We were all sharing the same room, and you can
Hmm.
feel a big a sense of like energy in that room where you could just feel my mom's motherly presence and the father. And I just remember feeling like, okay, I can get through this day. And I did.
Wow.
And then it would just repeat. And it was just like a way where before, you know how I said, like, oh, yeah, I forgot about my family in India. I just remember I just dropped everything and I was looking forward ahead. When I got adopted into this family and the way my adopted mom was treating me, it brought those memories back from my mom and how she nurtured me. Like, yes, she had a lot of kids. And this is where I say, like, not everybody can handle a large family, but there are
No.
some that can. And
Yeah.
they can be able to love
mm,
children. So just because you have like a big family doesn't mean a mother or father can't love you. So just I had both worlds where one mother actually loved her children and it was, you know, they went through a difficult time financially. And then I had a mother that was totally fine financially, but couldn't give love to her children and shouldn't be able to have children,
You
shouldn't
shouldn't.
be able to
Yeah.
adopt children. And so, yeah, those memories started coming back to me. And I think God was really allowing me to feel how my mom was because as I grew up older to become a mom myself, I kind of already knew what it was because I he was allowing me to like keep those memories. And I knew like you can have a choice. You know, you can become like your adopted mom that she
hmm
raised and project your problems onto her, or you can remember the loving mom that I had that allowed you to get your hands dirty, allowed you to make mistakes, and loved you. You know, and when my siblings came home, she gravitated towards them and loved them too. So I saw that in my older sister. And my mom was in my older sister in many ways because my older sister, she started working early and she would bring me food, making sure that I was being taken care of. And then she would also buy me clothes. And so she was like, we were there for each other. We were loving and comforting one another in many ways. And I am just so grateful for her. And I should have expressed that a lot more when I was younger. But, you know, we were in a fear state. We had to be very careful in who we talked to and stuff.
And how
Um,
you talked to anybody and who was around and who heard what, the whole 9 yards.
yeah. Well,
Yeah, because
unfortunately,
everybody's being used against everybody at that point in time when in that kind of a household.
yeah, it was hard. And so as I ended up I think I passed an hour. I'm
You're
so
fine.
sorry.
No,
I ain't got nothing better to do.
you're good.
Okay. So when I got to high school, um, my mom started saying things like, well, actually, I guess it's middle school, but it's high school for us when we didn't have middle school from 7th to 12th grade.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So my mom would start telling me things like, the town is talking about you. Like you were doing things with your dad, the helper, and I didn't like that because I'm like, I don't think that way, and that's not even close to my mind.
And
Um,
that's not what's in their mind either.
it wasn't, and they
That
never
you're
harmed.
you're yeah, you're putting very bad false accusations on good people.
Hmm. Exactly, and that's where I'm like, well, if everybody's talking about it, because anything that happens in a small town gets spread like wildfire.
Yeah, I know. I lived
Yeah,
in a town of
right.
300.
But you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They all knew my name, and my name isn't easy. They all knew the correct way to say my name my very first day of school. They all knew exactly who I was. I was like, what world did I just jump into? Like, you not only said my name, but you said it right. Nobody gets
I didn't
mad
yeah,
at
grow
my
up in
name.
a small town, but I lived in
yeah.
a small town.
Yeah, we didn't grow up in them, but yeah, we both lived in very small towns at one point of our lives.
So you
Yeah.
understand. Yep.
Hmm.
And so, like, with that thought, I'm like, well, I don't want people to think bad about my dad. I don't want people to think bad about this, my dad's helper, because they never would do anything to me. So I backed off and I never like started hanging out with them. And it was really sad because none of those talks were actually talked about in
Really
town.
happening.
It wasn't. It was just her just getting to me to take away things that I enjoyed
Hmm.
again. And so
Jesus.
I had to figure out a way to like find another way to cope and to not be around my mom. So I started working really early, 3 jobs, and started making money, started saving it, and I never ended up seeing that money ever again. Because supposedly I had to pay for rent, I had to pay for insurance, I had to pay all these things. So those weren't my money. So all that money that I was working towards college
Hmm.
was not mine. And so when I went to college, it was really hard because when I asked my dad, like, hey, I want my bank account, so then I can use any of that savings and the job that I was going to get, I could put into that job, into that bank account. No,
Oh
it
my
was,
gosh.
yeah, it was just really sad reality knowing that all that hard work I did, I never got it. But again, my older sister, she left the house earlier because my mom kicked her out. And so she was roaming the streets in the next town, just trying to like survive.
Survive.
Yeah, but not letting people know what was really happening. So she was kind of like bumming off of other people staying at people's homes until they were like, hey, you need to get back home. Because they didn't know what
Hmm.
was going on. Like, you need to go back to your family. You can't stay here forever. And so she started like sleeping at the school's dugout, baseball dugout, and trying to like not making it obvious. She would call me to bring clothes to her during school. So I would bring clothes to her, but I didn't really realize the extent that she was in. She ended up, my dad found out what was happening, told my uncle, like, hey, I really need to get Violet in a better home. Would you take her? And he's like, and that's my mom's brother. Only if I get beef and you pay rent and stuff. So he wasn't really wanting to help my sister out just out of love. It was just give me something that's tangible for me, then I'll do it. And so she,
So it definitely ran in the family, huh?
yeah, she, when the, and my parents, my mom did have really good aunts and like siblings that were good.
Hmm.
She was just something else.
Yeah,
But
sounds like it.
my sister ended up getting pregnant because she ended up finding somebody that she thought was that loved her. You know, when somebody gets abused, they just go after anybody that gives them
That
attention
loves.
and that love. Yeah, and it was just really sad. She started off in a stressful way, and my mom was not willing to help her out. And she was like, I'll only help you out if you allow me to adopt, if you give up your baby and I'll adopt your baby. And my sister was like, no, absolutely not. So that was probably like one of the best decisions she's ever made for her child, was never giving that baby up towards to my mom, because you know we know how my mom treated us. Like
Yeah,
that baby would not be in a good position, especially knowing that it's my sister's baby. She
yeah,
would
we've
probably want to
gotten treated even worse than your sister.
yeah. So as I was in high school, my sister and I could never get into my bank account, and I worked a lot, so I had money saved up. I couldn't go shopping for clothes. I couldn't go shopping for just anything. So my sister was really kind. She would. I started participating in sports, and my mom thought that was rebellious. Um, and that was probably like the most rebellious thing I've ever done, was doing sports. And she didn't want it, but I went ahead and put my foot down on that one and went against her will. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's probably the most rebellious things that I actually ever
You are
done.
such a horrible child, don't you
I
know?
was. I was so horrible in many
Like,
ways.
wow. Like, geez. I can't
Um,
believe all the stuff that you pulled.
yeah, I honestly don't know how I did it, but as I was in sports, that was another way I enjoyed um, just being away, right? And then it was really hard because I never could. I was really good at sports. I was pretty athletic. I picked it up pretty fairly quickly, fairly well, and performed really well. But however, I never gave it my best because
Hmm.
I was still in a fear state of how is my mom's going to think? Will I be able to make it home and the door is locked and I couldn't get in because she would lock the door. Sometimes I would get home like 12 in the at nighttime because I was busy 12 in the morning because we had to travel to different schools and it would take us a long time to get back home. And a lot of times I was locked
Especially
out.
when you're in a smaller rural town
Mhm.
school. I firsthand know. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. And during practices, I would stay and do my practice and I would get home late and it would be around like 7:30, 8 o'clock when I would get home and hungry. I wasn't allowed to eat because the kitchen was closed and I wasn't there when everybody was eating. So here again, I think I was 67 pounds when I was in the 8th grade,
Oh my
and
gosh.
I was skinny. And doing sports, you need to make sure that you're fed. And
Yes.
I
Especially
couldn't
a
eat.
growing child.
Yeah, and I couldn't eat until the next day at school lunch. So yes, I again started picking up bad, like I guess like sickness in my
Hmm.
own self, because when things happen, any abuse that any child or person goes through, they usually hold it within their body somewhere, like a
The
weak
body keeps the
part.
score.
And for me, that was in my stomach. and in
Mm-hmm.
my back, because I never had my back properly healing, and
Mm-hmm.
I just kept storing a lot of the pain on my back and my stomach. Um, as I and I want to point out why it's really important that we always try not to poison ourselves or take in um, somebody else's lash and throw it onto ourselves, because it's not okay. You should never like put that on you. Like, you gotta see your worth, and
Mm-hmm.
allow whoever is causing you problems and pain and abuse, like, don't take it on you just because they are insecure of themselves. Like, let them take the problem. Don't. And it's hard being in a home with as a child, trying to navigate and trying to understand this. But as I gotten older, I've had a stomach tumor. And so I just found out yesterday, and I'm going to be getting it removed. And it's probably like the size, maybe like a little like less than my face, of a tumor. And this is what happens when we do not, when a child does not have a way to express themselves and a place where they feel safe, they start getting sick. And where I didn't
Mm-hmm.
have like proper nutrition, like, my body was fighting, and it was creating poisons within myself. And so the effect of all this is my tumor, like, I started growing. So now I'm gonna be getting it removed, as the doctor saw the ultrasound and seeing how massive it is. Like, it's like stuff like that where I knew like something was wrong with my body, but I would never go into a doctor because I don't
Hear
want
the
to know.
answer?
Yeah, you don't want to hear
Yes.
the answer. It's hard.
Yes,
Um,
I completely understand that. I completely understand that. Where you're just like,
yeah,
I'm just not ready to face what they're going to tell me yet.
yeah, exactly. But I bring this up not to get petty at all. It's to help people listening to understand, like, take care of your body. Do not allow other people to throw their garbage onto you. And if they do, learn
Do
how
not
to release
absorb
it.
it.
Don't
Yeah.
observe. Exactly. So that's like one of the pointers I wanted to share with your audience, is the importance of taking care of yourself.
I agree because a lot of people, when you've dealt with abuse and you've dealt with addictions or anything like that, which addictions typically are from traumas, they correlate well hand in hand. um you're really, your body's already going through it, and when your body's in a constant survival mode, your body's already having chemicals being forced through it that are not healthy for it. And then
Right.
after so long, it creates diseases. For some, it creates seizures. For
Hmm.
others, it creates other things, the tumors or cancer, or it turns into poison into us. So I
Yeah.
agree with you, don't take on other people's garbage.
Yeah. It's a lot like an analogy like I like to talk about is, you can have like a clean home, and when your home and your space is clean, you're more likely to invite people into your space because you're comfortable and your home is more homey and inviting. But if you have internal damages and you're not fixing those up, what you're doing is you're not allowing anybody to come in there to help you clean up the garbage or the mess because you don't feel
Yes.
safe, or you just you maybe you just don't trust them, and you just start throwing garbage. So you just imagine throwing emotions as like physical garbage, and as it starts piling up, you don't ever take it out, and it gets fuller and fuller, and you still ignore the problem. And pretty soon, this garbage that's been there for months, it's going to stink, it's going to mold. And what is that going to do internally? It's going to cause
It's gonna
internal
fester.
damage. Yes. Seizures, or tumor, or cancer. You never know. Things just start adding up. So maybe you can, if this can relate to anybody, maybe just reflect on it and see like where in your life are you holding those garbage in, and how can you like clean that out, where you can start inviting people in and start trusting people in, and you can have an authentic lifestyle where you feel at peace and feel safe, and that you can feel like you're wanted because you're worth it. And actually it needs to start with yourself. When someone wants a house that's comforting, they're going to take the time to make sure their space is clean and inviting. So they are the ones that's making that action. So internally, you need to make that action. Make sure that you are cleaning up your space.
Absolutely. Absolutely agree. Avonley, it has been one heck of a ride with you today.
Oh,
I have to say thank you so much for. We're definitely going to have to do part two, part three, part four, however many parts we need to do. We definitely need
Whatever
to
else
have
you
you
want to
on.
talk about.
Yeah.
absolutely.
We definitely need to be, yeah, we're just going to have our own little section with Avonley Lightstone.
Oh,
um, thank you so much for sharing your story and being as open and honest with everybody and then with our audience and trusting us. We thank you for that. Number one, thank you for trusting us, for being
Yes.
vulnerable and open, because that means a lot to us. It really, really does. And we know that it's so important to be able to share these things. Like you said, we got to get them out. We have a friend, Giso. He always says, it's kind of like farts. It needs to be out. There's more room out there than there is in here, so you need to get this stuff out. So we
yeah.
appreciate you, and we will definitely have to, for our listeners, gonna have to have a part two.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to take the time, Sela, to and Giselle, for your kindness of allowing me to come on your show and be so vulnerable and be able to share my story. And thank you for like sharing what you guys went through, because I think when we talk about these things and we're just so raw and open to it, it just connects with people. We're just normal human beings that are just trying to survive and live the life as abundantly as we can. But we have flaws that we have to work through, and it's okay. And I just want to thank you both for allowing me to be on your show. And I hope that this journey, that being on your podcast, can bless other people.
Absolutely. I
Thank
think
you.
yes, thank you. Thank you. And I know that your message will go far. You have a message in all of it. And like I said, we're definitely gonna have to do another
Yes.
episode. You have our calendar. You go ahead and just mark
Okay,
those dates.
we'll do it.
For those of you that would like to share your story and stay anonymously, you can email us at 12 in through THRU 34 the glass at gmail.com. If we completely understand, if you want to stay anonymous, your story is still important and still can impact others. Your name doesn't have to be along to it if you don't want it to. Um, if you want to come on to the podcast, or if you feel like you want to say something about this episode, we absolutely encourage interaction. We have YouTube for a reason. Use those comment section, man. All right. We love you guys and we appreciate you. Giselle, did you have any more to put?
People can reach us on Facebook, TikTok. Um, yeah, Facebook and TikTok. I don't have, my brain went blank.
Well, we're now
And
on
then
Deezer and iHeart now, so we've expanded our platforms. You guys, you know how to look for it. We appreciate
I,
every one of you.
yes, we do. Thank you all so much.
Thanks again for looking in through the glass.